Experience is everything.
100%.
And anything you do, experience is everything. And as you continue to experience, different things in life, you're going to always learn, which way you can approach it better. Like to this day, like nobody's perfect. And to this day, I still learn things every day. And I tell my staff as well, like, I'm not knocking them just because they're newer to the industry. Like, education is constantly evolving and changing. Things are done differently now than they were back then when we were doing it. So I'm always open to learning, and I let them know, like, I'm human. And so there's going to be times where I make a decision or I do something where I'm like, ooh, I need to reel myself in and I need to correct this because this isn't like so great, or I know I can be better than this. I have to hold myself accountable, but also like teach me some things too.
Yeah.
Because you might cross things that I haven't come across, and I would love for you to share that with me just as much as I'm, giving you constructive criticism and sharing things with you.
So yeah, tell me a little about the business start.
So I've been in the industry my entire life. My mom was in the industry, and so I started out like really young, being in salons and everything like that. I didn't know until I was like a teenager that I really wanted to be in this industry. So here I am now, and I started with a corporate company. And then eventually I ventured on my own, and it's been an exciting journey. All of my knowledge and everything that I've learned up to this point has really been like just life experience. So
in terms of like the industry, what do you do?
Oh, okay. So beauty industry. Yeah. So I own a full service beauty lounge. I started out just doing hair, and I worked for a corporate company, worked my way through it, did a lot of different positions within the industry. And then eventually I opened up my own place, Jackson Harlow. And we started out like just aesthetics. And then eventually I merged and put aesthetics and hair and everything under one roof. It just makes it easier on my staff and my clients, our guests. And yeah.
So why don't you guys incorporate the nails?
So, we
high expectations.
We had nails.
Okay.
We had nails for a little bit, but it was really on that person wanting to be there, right? So sometimes Jackson Harlow can just be a stepping stone for people, where I have been mentoring in this industry for 20 plus years now. It's been a long time. I actually had one of my mentorees mentioned something. She had posted something on Facebook, and she was like, and Roxanne, and like had tagged the timeline, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this for a long time because I had already been doing it a few years before I even had met her.
Yeah.
So that's when I realized, I was like, yeah, that's.
And why do you mentor? Why is that integral into
It's who I am as a person. It's just naturally who I am. I feel like I always want to like help people, and people, everybody needs a little guidance. And if I can give my knowledge and my experience in life and within this industry to somebody else, then like why not? Why not share it? Why not help the younger generation maybe make less mistakes because they're able to learn from us?
Yeah. Do you take that like high expectation into your own environment there at Jackson Harlow in terms of like?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when it comes to hair, like these are all things where it's like you can take a talented person, you can get the expectations from a client, but nonetheless, if you don't have that like detailed eye.
Yeah, there's definitely high expectations, but at the same time, I'm understanding about the fact that there are newer, younger people coming into industry, and you have to start somewhere. And you can't learn and you can't improve and evolve unless you make mistakes. That's part of life.
Yeah.
So mistakes are a huge lesson and are needed for us. So I'm not hard on people, but I definitely make sure that they're okay with constructive criticism.
Yeah, no, that's good. And that's such a good, it's hard. I don't know, you tell me. The beauty industry, do your team members see that as a reflection of themselves? Because I know in the photography industry, you give constructive criticism to somebody, it's very easy for them to internalize that as like, oh my gosh, I'm a horrible person, I suck. Yeah. Versus removing yourself from like.
And that's time and experience with being in a leadership position or dealing with numerous people. You learn that you can't speak and not treat everybody the same, but you can't speak to somebody the same way you might speak to another person, because somebody might might be more sensitive. Like you want to give them constructive criticism based off of like, respect is huge, but like when you know the person and you kind of just, I don't know how to explain it because after you've been doing it for so many years, you catch on quick to somebody's personality and you're like, oh, this isn't really a talker, or they're more timid, or you just approach the situation as is to make sure that you can make that person feel as comfortable as possible and know that this is a positive thing. It's never a negative thing. And
So okay, let's role play here for a
go?
second.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am one of your stylists, and I just cut someone's hair, and you see it. You see that it's not meeting the standards because you've worked with that client before. How would you give me that feedback, knowing that I'm new, I'm fresh, you had confidence that I would take care of it, but it's not going to be taken care of. You can see that. I'm very sensitive. How would you give me that deliver that feedback to me?
Okay, so a few things in this scenario. My mind is constantly strategizing life. It's kind of bad actually. Like I'm always scenarios and like how do I damage control? Okay, solve the problem. Next, let's do this. So a few things you mentioned there. You're an existing client. We have somewhat of a relationship established. This is a newer stylist. They probably know that this is a newer stylist. I don't know what degree this person, like in a sense of like how far along they've cut into the hair at this point and what
It's
the
done.
person, so it matters.
It's
so
done.
it's done. It's done. Can we salvage it and can we correct it? Because the thing about it is I wouldn't put somebody in a position to mess up someone's hair that bad where we couldn't go back and correct it. If there was something that I didn't agree with to my expectations, that it's going to be something that's slightly off because I would never put somebody behind the chair to do that to somebody. I would make sure that they were prepared enough to really get by. And if it's just a little correction here, then that's cool. And because I have a relationship with this current client, and I'm comfortable enough to approach and be like, I don't know, our vibe in our shop with all of our clients and guests, it's a hub for like Loudoun County women where we all just cut up and have conversation where I could be like, I'm just going to go in here, I'm just going to refine it and,
How would you talk to the team member?
How would I talk to a team member? I would just be like, hey, I'm going to come in, let me show you this. But I would just go in and be like, can I step in? Can I check? And then I would just do it,
That's good, yeah.
I feel like it just comes natural for me. It just comes natural. But literally, I would approach and be like, I'm just going to go through and double check, but this looks great besides this, And
Yeah, that's my approach. I was just curious.
I
That's
just don't
my
want to let
approach
somebody
too.
walk out looking crazy.
Yeah, because I find that a lot of people too, when it comes to, I'm going to say our industry, because it's kind of in that creative, feel good. When we do headshots, I would step in similar to how you do. I'd be like, oh my gosh, it looks good. I really want to photograph this person. Do you mind if I grab the camera? Because I want to get in there and get some cool shots too.
Yeah.
And they're like, of course, here, boss, and so it still keeps that high energy, fun energy. And then afterwards, after the client's gone, be like, hey, just FYI, this is why I stepped in.
Yeah. And they already know why you stepped in. And they're probably watching and they should be watching.
Yeah.
That says a lot about your employees is if you're stepping in, it's for a reason. They should know that.
Yeah.
And they should be paying close attention to what you're doing so that that way they can correct themselves as well. If it were a newer client, that's exactly what I would do. I would go in completely in a different situation because I wouldn't want a newer client who's new to this this environment and doesn't really know anybody yet to be comfortable enough for me to approach like that. So I would kind of swoop in the same as you in that sense, and then we would go from there. But certain staff, you're hiring them based off of their skills and where they're at in their career.
Yeah.
So a newer employee that's new to the industry, I should say, they know that we're going to work a little bit closer with each other versus somebody who's more established and has been doing it for many years.
Yeah.
That everybody kind of knows their role.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. I always try to learn as much as I can from my guests, so that's why
Yeah, no, and I think that's the best way to do it. Again, it's working with people. You know how to approach every situation, and although you might approach the situation a little similar, it's always going to be different with each person.
That's the hard thing with training, I find too, is as I'm trying to train my team, is giving them enough scenarios, but also telling them it's not going to be the same thing. it'll be a little twist. You've got to be able to navigate it on your feet and understand kind of the basis around like how you would approach different situations, because things will always be a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like I can say, if this happens, do this, but this thing will never happen. It'll always be like a twist to it. So yeah, it's
Experience is everything.
100%.
And anything you do, experience is everything. And as you continue to experience, different things in life, you're going to always learn, which way you can approach it better. Like to this day, like nobody's perfect. And to this day, I still learn things every day. And I tell my staff as well, like, I'm not knocking them just because they're newer to the industry. Like, education is constantly evolving and changing. Things are done differently now than they were back then when we were doing it. So I'm always open to learning, and I let them know, like, I'm human. And so there's going to be times where I make a decision or I do something where I'm like, ooh, I need to reel myself in and I need to correct this because this isn't like so great, or I know I can be better than this. I have to hold myself accountable, but also like teach me some things too.
Yeah.
Because you might cross things that I haven't come across, and I would love for you to share that with me just as much as I'm, giving you constructive criticism and sharing things with you.
Yeah, I love that like open type of
Like
engagement.
Everybody can always make improvements to be better in all aspects of life. You know what I mean?
100%.
So.
In terms of marketing. Oh, go ahead.
But also being happy with yourself, too.
That's right.
Let's just put that out there.
In terms of marketing, how do you approach that? Because your studio, is it studio?
Beauty lounge.
Lounge. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotta use the right words there. So your beauty lounge, like how it's very popular in our area, always, referred, recommended. How have you built it into that?
I started out as Lashes by Ricky Vox, where we were just aesthetics, and then I did hair on the side, and it was completely separate. And then eventually in 2019, I merged the two together, calling it Jackson Harlow. So Jackson is my oldest daughter's name, and Harlow is my youngest daughter's middle name. So that's where Jackson Harlow came from.
So cute.
Yeah, they're the most important things to me in this world. So I'm like, of course, I'll name it this. Anyways.
So don't have any more kids.
Oh, no, I'm done. I am absolutely done. I mean, how long have we known each other, right? Like, no, I am done, girl. We are done. We are full force business, retirement. Like, we're coming to the end. So definitely done. But, so Jackson Harlow, I started it, and I don't know, things have changed. Like, social media is huge now. So marketing, having to switch over Ricky Vox to Jackson Harlow, a lot of people didn't realize that there was a transition there. And I transitioned it into Jackson Harlow for numerous reasons, but eventually people caught on that Jackson Harlow was affiliated with Ricky Vox, because Ricky Vox was the first exclusive lash lounge facility to open in Loudoun County. So Vicky and I don't know, you know Vicky, right? Yeah. So Vicky of Salon V. So we were business partners for Lashes by Ricky Vox. And it was the first place in this area. So we really grew something amazing. But by the end of Ricky Vox, when it was time to renew, we decided that we were going to go separate ways, and we're still great friends. I actually just talked to her this morning. I told her, I was like, I'm going in to see Aaliyah today. I was telling her about it. But yeah, so she has Salon V. She's doing great there. And then I have Jackson Harlow. And it's been good. But marketing is different. Like, we're having to change a lot during these times. Not to mention, the majority of the first half or the start of Jackson Harlow has been during COVID. Yeah. So I had to really adjust and change marketing during COVID. Everything changed. We were shut down for like 3 months. I had a ton of products. I had just money sitting, but also money going out because I still had to pay for my space. So marketing during that time was during, like, I called it quarantine kits. You know, you have to get savvy and fun and then figure out what people's needs are and just adjust to it. And right now, everything is social media. So doing social media, word of mouth, you know, like supportive guests, supportive friends and family, that's really what counts and matters. And we're on the 4th floor. We have like about half the 4th floor on an office building. So it's not like we're in a retail area where people are walking by. We're really kind of that hidden gem where you hear about us and you come in.
And so yeah, you're driving your own traffic and they're not walking by. And
No, yeah.
in terms of like personality wise, are you more of a personality driven business when it comes to how you're like on social media, in person? You said friends and family, supportive friends and family. Is that where you see a lot of your clientele coming from?
Yeah, absolutely. It's word of mouth and social media for sure. Google, you know, everything is just internet based right now. But a lot of it has to do with, I don't just hire people because of their skills only. I
Be a local
hire.
influencer.
What'd you say?
So they have to be a local influencer.
No, they have to be a good person.
Yeah.
They have to have good energy. They have to have good person, like be a good person, because that says a lot for the people that you're bringing into your space. Like I'm big on energy and high vibrations, being positive, like not sitting on the negative, not saying that we don't all have mental health days. You know what I mean? Like we call them mental health days. Like I rather somebody say, "Hey Roxanne, I need the day off. I just need a mental health day. Like I need a day where I just need to I'm just having a day."
Yeah.
And I just
Do
don't.
those days ever turn into weeks and then months?
No, because I think
they took that day.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it can for some people, you know, because it's real. But that's why it's important for you to have quality of life. Like as much as being successful and running a successful business is taking consideration of quality of life, not only for yourself, for other people, and that you don't have to call out sick. Like I said, you can just be like, "Hey, I need a day," and be like, "Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's just, as long as you're responsible going about it, you know what I mean, in a sense of rescheduling clients, being accommodating, being considerate of others as well. Like you can do all those things and still take a day for yourself. So I'm big on that, but I think that runs a successful business. And also, like I said, I'm big on energy in a sense of I'm not hiring just anybody just because they're great at what they do. I need somebody who's going to be a good person and not bring in bad energy. And
You're like, you start holding your eye.
yeah, no, for sure. Like,
how do you know if somebody's a good person? Do you need to be in their space for a while? Can you tell right off the bat?
I'm still getting better. I mean, I feel like being able to notice away.
Yeah. Like you're looking to hire somebody. How do you do that?
I'm getting better at that. I wasn't so great at that before. I had to experience
I suck at it. Obviously, I like the people that are here. That's why they're still here. But I've made a lot of
You've had to go
not
through some
great
people. Yeah.
hires because I didn't pay attention to that gut reaction. So that's why I'm asking, because I want to learn.
Yeah.
How do you?
Yeah. No, it's a work in progress for sure. And I think it goes back to boundaries. We have to set boundaries for ourselves. I want to see everybody win. I want to see the best in people. I want to be like, okay, let's do this. And because I'm that person and I want to give chances and I want everybody to win and I want to, pour out for them, I'm missing and I'm not noticing certain things that I should be noticing in a sense of this isn't going to be good.
Yeah.
This person's not a good fit for this place. And I need to just know that I saw this saying where it's like you can want everybody to eat, but that doesn't mean you have to make their plate for them.
Yeah.
And I have to learn that. And I've gotten so much better at it. And I've gotten better at immediately when I notice that it's not going to work out or personalities might not be the right fit for my space, I'm quicker to address the issue versus sitting on it for too long and then getting burned.
That's me.
I hate to say that. I hate to say, but it's like the reality of it, And one person can really throw off the vibe of your entire space, and I want a place where people feel happy and feel like it's a getaway. Like we always say, use work and because we're all really different personalities, but we're pretty close, and we're like a sorority house basically. You know, men are welcome too. But right now it
Just
is
sit in the
all
corner.
women. Yeah, it's all women right now. And so I say sorority house, but we're all different personalities, different ethnicity. We're just a little mixing bowl of a spot. And because we're like sisters and we're like family, we spend a lot of time together. You know, we have the ups and downs, and it really, like, you know, it depends on what's going on in each individual's life and stuff like that. But we try to use the space as time to decompress and let go of anything that's going on, you know, in your personal life. Come in and use this time to just chill and have great conversations and just, you know, just be in a happy, good place, you know. And that's what I think my staff and the clients, you know, really enjoy the most is you can feel the energy when you walk in. So making sure that I'm not calling out, but I'm removing anything that really doesn't feel like belongs is important. And I have to do it sooner rather than later, because sometimes it takes a little time to mend things back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once it's been, I've caught myself doing, like, having to remove myself sometimes because of a personal challenge or issue that I've got going on at home. And then I know that if I bring that into the workspace, I really do believe that energy is so big that, you know, everyone else is going to be able to feel it. I might come in and be like, hey guys, how are you? But then there's just like little things that will...
you just know.
Yeah.
You're intuitive. You know. Yeah,
well, and other people
we
know
sound
too.
very similar. Yeah. But I guess you kind of have to be when you're in leadership and you're dealing with people. You know, you pick up on people's energy. And again, not everybody's an energy person or whatnot.
How'd you get into that, by the way?
You know, during COVID, I had a lot of time to reflect. I had a lot of change in my life. You know, I ended up getting separated, and right at the end of COVID. So that's when like my separation from my divorce started. And we're great at co-parenting. We have a great relationship. Like it's been actually it's been a pretty good, you know, considering it's divorce. Like I can say that we're on good terms, and it feels good because you always want to choose peace if you can in life, you know. So I'm glad that my ex-husband and I are in a good place.
Are you still getting used to saying that?
Huh?
I said, are you still getting used to saying
Kind
that?
of, yeah. Like I'm really keeping it real with you guys right now on here. But yeah, during COVID, I ended up being alone, and I started reflecting a lot, and I had to really do some inner work with myself. And not to mention it was COVID, so you couldn't go anywhere. So you were really forced
distracted
to sit
by
in your feelings. Yeah. So I sat in my feelings, and I've always been religious and spiritual. I was raised Catholic. I have gone to Christian churches. I, you know, love doing, you know, the energy and the healing work of like, you know, manifestation and meditating as well. I started taking these classes at the Shakti Rising, and I guess it's Sterling or Herndon, but I really kind of got to tap into a different place and learn a little bit more like within. But, you know, I believe that there is a higher power and that there's a God, and praying is important, and manifesting is important, and really trying to stay as positive as possible. So I just kind of take from everything, and I'm running with it. I'm running with it. So like I'm not like just one thing. I'm just a ball of all of it. I'm just a ball of all of it. But yeah, manifestation is huge for me. You know, really staying positive, really trying to keep your energy like, you know, and vibrate high. And
like literally vibrating as you're saying that. You're like,
yeah. And prayers, you know, you can't stop praying. You know, trust the process, put in the work, and pray on it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen. I went into the beauty lounge. Was it the beauty lounge when you had tanning, the spray tanning?
We still have spray tanning.
Okay.
Yes,
I wasn't sure if you switched it up already by then or not.
Yeah,
I don't remember when I went.
We're still doing it, but the brand is different. It's been different for a long time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have to come and see the actual updated.
Oh, it's in a completely
space.
different space. Yeah, I love my space so
I know, just listening to you talk about all this, I'm like, I'm sure that's reflected in her space
yeah,
as
so
well.
we were going to, I was actually looking at new spaces. I looked at so many new spaces in Loudoun County, and I was kind of like entertaining Fairfax. Everything everything I liked wasn't available. It was listed, and we would go look at it, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, it's not available," or it was already fitted for a kitchen,
Yeah.
and etc. So anything I wanted was either not available, or like the cost of it was insane, and I was like, "That's just not doable." Again, keeping it real as a business owner, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like doing the numbers and the projections. Real estate around here is expensive.
It totally
It's
is.
expensive. It's tough. You know what I mean? And I just didn't like anything. And I felt like if we were going to make this move, I'm making it to be better. I
Yeah.
want the space to be better. So, yeah, that wasn't going to happen. My space is amazing. I
Yeah.
love my space. So I couldn't find anything where I was like really confident, like, oh, if I move this to this location, it's going to be better. I'm like, no, it's not. Why would I downgrade? So I have windows all the way around the space.
that's
So
so
natural
amazing,
lighting
yeah.
is huge for me. I once was in a space where like I didn't have any windows, and I'm busy. Like I go in, like when I go in and I don't leave until like nighttime. So when there's that time change and it's dark when you go in and
It's
dark
dark
when
when
you
you come
leave,
out, yeah.
oh my gosh, after a couple of years, that's depressing.
Yeah.
That is depressing. So I knew when I got this space, like, and what I was looking for in a spot, I was like, I want windows, natural lighting. I want to see the seasons change. I want to see what's going on down there. There's a lot going on down there.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it's fun. The girls and I tend to watch out the window.
People watch.
Oh yeah, we're people watching. It's crazy how people are parking these days.
I'm probably one of those.
I'm actually one of those sometimes too, but like some of it's just like, really, come on now. Like that's pretty bad. Like I'm bad, but that is bad. Yeah, no, I love my space. So the windows are everything. We're just gonna do some revisions. I had built it out in with plans to expand. So I had already kind of set up the space to expand, and so we're gonna stay. And we're doing some things right now, but yeah, the windows are everything. But I love my space, and it's very eclectic. My style is very artsy and eclectic, but I also am organic and neutral. So
I need to come see it.
It's just a,
Kind of the inside, the way you're talking about, you're just you take from this,
yeah,
and take from this, and take from this.
Yeah, and it all ties in together somehow. You know what I mean? Like I love a style that's like, I love different. Yeah, I like different. Like I always notice like different things, and I think that's what sets people apart from each other is like just be you, and apply what you really like, because it's easy to fall into the tracks of what's trending and what everybody's doing. Like you can do what's trending, but put a little twist on it.
Yeah, do it the way you want to do it.
Yeah.
In terms of like hardships or growth journeys, like what would you say has been the hardest thing about your journey so far?
COVID was so hard.
Okay.
Yeah, COVID was scary. It was hard. It really made you think like, okay, what can I do? I mean, that just changed up. Either people really thrived during COVID or people were just maintaining, and so maintaining it was, but mentally, emotionally, physically, that was hard being a business owner, is because that's all you have.
Yeah.
And I was sold
Literally
business.
like your baby is like on life support during that time.
Yeah, and also the fact that like I feel like for me as a boss and as a leader, I'm just a caring person. So like I really lead and just like go through life. Like I go through like with my heart. So that's why another reason why I have to be like very particular about who I deal with, and I'm setting boundaries and I'm working on being really good about that, is because I can't be that person for everybody, because I have these intentions, but not everybody else does.
Yeah.
And I've seen that, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So, but anyways, with that being said, I had a team of people that were out of work as well, and I'm leading us. And so I felt responsible leading, I think at the time it was maybe 15
Oh,
or
wow.
so, like people. So, and they have families, you know,
Yeah.
some of them were younger and no kids, no husband, some of them, you know, but then there were people that were single moms, had families, etc. So I felt responsible for not only worrying about myself and my kids and taking care of us, but taking care of them and their family. So every decision I made wasn't just for myself; it was for my entire team. When it came down to insurance and their unemployment, because people were getting unemployment during COVID. They were offering grants, business grants, PPE. There were a lot of things that they were offering at this time. And as a business owner, you making certain decisions will affect everybody else. And so I had to think about other people. So it was like very overwhelming for me and stressful to like, I'm always that person, but in that time, everybody was like kind of lost and you didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And you know, it got to the point after a while I stopped watching, you know, the conferences and the announcements because I was like, I'm just gonna wait and recap it later because it was like it got like I don't even know how many times he did a press release. You know what I mean? And
I didn't watch the news at all.
people waiting to see like, am I gonna be able to open my business back up? Like, what's going on? You know, eventually after like the second or third, I'm like, I'm not watching through this. I'm just gonna look it up afterwards, and eventually we opened back up, but. That was a tough time. It was, you really had to adjust your hustle.
Yeah.
You know, like.
I just claimed press for my business. Mm-hmm. I stayed open the whole time.
Yeah.
Because I'm very much, I never watched the news except for now. But previously, I've never watched the news, like, ever.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even know, like, when they're like, well, are you allowed to? And like, why not? We've got masks on. We'll keep ourselves, you know, spaced enough. What is it, 6 feet away? We're good.
Yeah.
And it's like my biggest learning lesson from that whole time period is like you have to take into account like what's happening, but also like don't base all your decisions off of entities or groups that have no idea how you operate, or don't just follow the trends of what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. Well, it was also hard because you also need to respect other people, you know,
100%.
and try to continue to respect people along the way, and that everybody was going to make their own decisions and stand on what they believed, because people did have different opinions as far
100%.
as like, are you going to get the vaccination? Are you not going to get the vaccination?
Yes.
Are you, like, some people took it so serious and didn't leave the house at all. Like, I mean, at that time, anything, it was like anything goes, you know what I
Especially
mean?
when you have
like,
a team.
Yeah, and I always say you're damned if you do or if you don't. You know, it's always going to be the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
So which is less, you know?
Yeah.
And be respectful when you move. And that was just one of those things. And we legally could not open.
Yeah, I know. Yours is different.
And I didn't trust to, like, I didn't trust to open and know for sure that there wasn't going to be any problems. You know what I mean? Just because there is so many people in traffic, I just didn't want any problems. But it was very contradicting because they said that we were able to go to people's homes and perform services, but not open up the shop and perform services. And I thought that's very contradicting because you're sending somebody into somebody's household.
Yeah.
I think that's more dangerous than coming into a facility where
That
it
is
could be way more controlled.
Controlled, yeah.
Exactly. Sanitized, clean, the amount of people in there. And eventually that's what they ended up doing, right? When we reopened, we could only have, you know, there was a capacity limit, you know, and then you had to have boards up, etc. I remember when we were all trying to, I mean, I call them lunch lady gloves because you couldn't get gloves back during COVID, you could not get gloves. So before COVID, like before, I was worried that the borders were going to shut down. So before COVID got like really bad and they really shut things down, I did a huge color order because we expedite our product from Italy. And I did a huge order because I was like, I need to make sure, I didn't know what was going to happen. So I'm like, I need to make sure that we're ready to go when the door is open. So I ordered a bunch of color. Could not get gloves, so I called them the lunch lady gloves. They're literally food preparation gloves. I think we just used our last box.
Well, they
Like
lasted.
last week, I really was the only one using them. Like, because
Yeah.
eventually, once we were able to get like real gloves for coloring and stuff,
Yeah.
I ordered those. But I was like, well, these aren't going to waste. Like, somebody,
Yeah.
I'll use them. But yeah, it's taken us this long to go through those because that's all you could get then. So,
What's
yeah,
the
that
scary
was just a
part though? It's
tough
just like
time.
there was, and that's it's just a good metaphor for business in general. It's like there's always going to be things that are slung in front of you, whether it's team related or out of your control with what happened during the COVID times.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you've got to make the best judgments, not just for you, but also for your team in terms of how you're going to navigate the ship forward. And, some people's ship got shipwrecked and they sunk and, they found another boat to jump on. But then there's
Yeah.
other people
Well, and a lot of people found themselves. A
yes.
lot of people found themselves during COVID. I definitely had booth renting is a big thing and has become a big thing, has become you know, an option to stylists and specialists and people here where they can be their own business, they can be their self-employed. And during COVID, I think that showed a lot of people and gave people the courage to be confident enough to make that leap. So after COVID, a lot of people ended up going booth renting and starting their own business and just kind of being self-employed and that was a shift and change as well. I also shifted my business strategy at that time as well, where I was just commission, and then when we reopened, I became booth renting and commission. So that way I could teach people how to run a business, but also they didn't have to completely up and leave the space
Yeah.
to go somewhere else, because every time you move, you're compromising 10% of your clientele being lost along the way. So not only do they get to stay comfortable and still do their own thing, they lack having to not lack, they don't have to lose clients along the way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. And it's nice because you almost have like a graduation program that's still staying within the.
Yeah, I just want to give people that option. So and some people still want their own space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes my space is not their space, and that's okay. But I want to give people the option to be able to grow in any direction, and it's cool. Do what you need to do for yourself. But going back to COVID, that was like a thing, and then making sure that I was taking care of everybody along the way too. So
It helps you grow as a leader when you have to,
yeah.
not just focus on yourself.
Well, and even with the PPE loan, and these things that they were giving out during COVID, I spoke to lawyers during that time. So some of these things I didn't take advantage of because my biggest question was so once we've done this, and what happens afterwards? Once you take the PPE, you take all this stuff, what's going to happen after this? Because they didn't tell us what comes.
I don't think they knew.
I don't think they knew either. And the lawyers were like, that's a great question, Roxanne. We'll look into that. Came back, we don't know.
Yeah.
They didn't know. There were no answers. So we were blindly accepting this stuff. Not people were blindly accepting the PPE, etc. Would I have done things differently? Absolutely. But we were accepting things blindly, not knowing what the outcome's going to be once we got back to real life. And that was a little bit scary because I was like, I don't want any penalties. I don't want anything, because nothing's for free.
Yeah.
Nothing's for free.
Well, so are you talking about the PPP loan?
Yeah, all of the government, everything the government was rolling out. You know what I mean?
Do you regret not taking it now, though, so many years after?
I do.
Okay, I was going to say, because we definitely tapped into that part, because there were a few months that we had to, there were a lot of stipulations you had to prove all the things, and I was very hesitant. For us, it wasn't that much, but it definitely helped,
Yeah, it definitely helped, but at the time they didn't have an answer
I think that
to
was
what happens afterwards, and I was like, my anxiety can't handle
that's
this.
a healthy fear, because I know I was like, okay, what am I selling my this little bit of change for?
And I guess maybe they had so much going on that they just left it as is. So if I could go back, would I do it? Absolutely, I would. But my staff was getting unemployment, and had I gotten the PPE loan, they would have received less than
Yeah.
unemployment. So I wanted to make sure that they were getting the most that they could get. And there were stipulations on the PPE loan where you had to use like 80% of it towards payroll, and then the
Yeah.
rest of it you could use towards whatever. I think it was 80/20.
Fixed costs, yeah.
And at the time I was just like, and like if I think back to it and I see what the outcome has been since then, I absolutely would have taken it, and I would have made sure that like my staff, it went to payroll for my staff, and then they would have then unemployment was like forever long, so then they
Yeah.
would have just jumped back onto unemployment. So
Yeah.
yeah, but at the moment I was making the best decision as a business owner,
Yeah.
for my people and as a business owner for my pocket, because I was like, oh, I don't. What are the penalties? What's going to happen? How am I going to get hit on taxes?
Yeah.
You know, we had no clue, and my lawyers were like, yeah, we don't know. And I was like, all right,
It's like a gamble.
it is a gamble, and I should have gambled.
Well, I was gonna say I wouldn't say well now you know, because it could always change, and hopefully
Yeah.
we're not in any type of circumstances.
I think everybody's out of the
Yeah.
woodworks on that. So yes, I absolutely should have gambled.
So in terms of just kind of wrapping this up, do you have a specific message that if you could give the world that you would say?
Oh gosh, so many things. My biggest one right now is you can choose peace or chaos. You can go left or right, you know, and it's your decision. And the decisions that we make for ourselves and for people affect every step of the way. So I just be positive and have boundaries. Boundaries are huge, and that's okay to have boundaries. And I don't know, like I guess just do what you love and lead with your heart, and you know, care about people. Use your platform to give back.
Even if
It's
it burns
huge.
you sometimes.
No, not even if it burns you sometimes.
Just continue
But the
doing
thing,
it.
like, no, like I would not want to like openly be like, I know this is gonna burn me, but I'm still gonna do it. Like,
sorry,
no.
meaning knowing that sometimes it will burn you. To lead with your
yeah,
heart,
that's human
to
nature.
care,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
still do it.
Yeah, no, you can't be scared.
Yeah.
Don't be scared. That's a good one. Don't be scared to move forward. And yeah, you're going to get burned, and things are going to happen. Life is going to be lifing, and we adjust.
gonna
and
be
we,
lifing.
Yeah, life is lifing, and we're going to adjust to it, and you're going to be okay, you know, but just be a good person and just lead like that. But yeah, things are going to happen, and you'll be okay. You're going to deal with it, and we're still going to get burned, but I'm not purposely going to go into getting burned.
You're like, no, Leah, you idiot. I'm not going to go into it knowing.
I'm like, not, no. Like, if I knowingly am going to get, no, I'm not. I'm out. I'm done. I've been doing this for way too long. I'm not doing it anymore. But yeah, it's going to happen sometimes because it's who I am as a person. I love hard. So in all aspects of things I do. So it's going to happen for sure. But I think I've come a long way where it's more controlled now. It's happening less. But yeah.
You're still lifing though.
Yeah. Still lifing. You don't have a choice, right?
Yes.
We're just going with it. And just know that in every moment there's a positive in every moment, you know. So even when you're having tough days, stop and think about like the positive and apply that, because you can find something good in everything.
Thank you so much for being on the show. That was a perfect ending.
Thank you.